don't believe it.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
They say. I hear.
I hear.
They say.
I don't believe it.
Oh, Dixie is talking. You hear it all over.
The cafe. The opera.
The project. The gutter.
They say he even mentioned it repeats. They say even Beethoven, his old pupil.
Why now? After so long.
32 years. I don't believe it.
They say he shouts at house all day.
I hear he cries out all night.
Stays in his apartment. Never goes out.
Not for a year now.
Longer.
Longer. Must be 70.
Older.
Older.
Antonio Salieri.
The famous musician.
Shouting it aloud. Crying it loud.
Impossible. Incredible.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. I know who started the tale.
I know who started the tale.
The old man's valet. The old man's cook.
The valet doesn't shout it.
The cook hears him crying.
What a story. What a scandal.
What does he say, or master?
What exactly does he say, the Kapellmeister?
Alone in his house. All day and all night.
What still does he shout?
The old fellow.
No clue. What horrors have you heard?
Tell us, tell us, tell us at once. What does he cry? What does he cry? What does he cry?
Mozart! Mozart. Mozart.
Perdonami, Mozart! Il tuo assassino ti chiede perdono!
Pardon Mozart?
Pardon Mozart?
Pardon your assassin.
Pardon your assassin?
God preserve us.
Pietà, Mozart! Mozart, pietà!
Mercy, Mozart. Mozart? Have mercy.
He speaks in Italian. When excited.
German would not.
Pardonami, Mozart. Pardon your assassin. There was talk once before you now. 32 years ago.
When Mozart was dying.
He claimed he'd been poisoned.
Some said he accused the man.
Some said that man was Salieri.
But no one believed it.
They knew what he died of.
Syphilis.
Sure.
Like everybody else.
What if Mozart was right? If he really was murdered?
And by him, our first Kapellmeister.
Antonio Salieri.
It can't possibly be true. Not actually credible.
Because why?
Why? Why on earth would he do it?
And why? Confess now. After 32 years?
Perdonami! Perdonami! Mozart! Il tuo assassino ti chiede perdono!
What do you think? What do you think?
What do you think? What do you think?
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
All the same.
Is it just possible?
Did he do it after all?
Vi saluto! Ombri del futuro! Antonio Salieri, a vostro servizio! I can almost see you in your ranks, waiting for your turn to live. Ghosts of the future. Be visible. I beg you, be visible. Come to this dusty old room. This time, the smallest hours of dark November, 1823. And be my confessors. Will you not enter this place and stay with me till dawn? Just till dawn, smeary 6 o'clock. Can you hear them? Vienna is a city of slander. Everyone tells tales here, even my servants. I keep only 2 now. They've been with me ever since I came here, 50 years ago. The keeper of the razor. The maker of the cakes. One keeps me tidy. The other keeps me full. Leave me, both of you. Tonight I do not go to bed at all. Return here tomorrow morning at 6 precisely, to shave, to feed your capricious master. Via! Via, via, via! Now, won't you appear? I need you desperately. This is the last hour of my life. I was about to die and implore you. What must I do to make you visible? Raise you up on the flesh to be my last audience. Does it take an invocation? That's how it's always done in opera. Ah, Yes, of course. An invocation. The only way. Let me try to conjure you now. Ghosts of the distant future. So I can see you. Ghosts of the future. Shades of time to come. So much more unavoidable than those of time gone by. Appear with what sympathy incarnation may endow you. Appear you, the yet to be born, the yet to hate, the yet to kill. Appear, posterity! There, it worked. I can see you. That is the result of proper training. I was taught invocation by Blue. He was a true master at it. He had to be. In his day, that was what people went to the opera for. The raising of gods, ghosts. Nowadays, since Rossini became the rage, they prefer to watch the escapades of hairdressers. Scusate. Invocation is an exhausting business. I need refreshment. It's a little repellent, I'll admit. But actually, the first sin I have to confess to you is gluttony. Sticky gluttony at that. Infantine, Italian gluttony. The truth is that, all my life, I have never been able to conquer lust for the sweetmeats of northern Italy, where I was born. From the ages of 3 to 73, my entire career has been conducted to the taste of almonds, sifted in sprinkled sugar, Veronese biscuits, Milanese macaroons, snow dumplings and pistachio sauce. Do not judge me too harshly for this. All men harbor patriotic feelings of some kind. My own parents were provincial subjects of the Austrian Empire, a Lombardy merchant and his Lombardy wife. Their notion of place was the tiny town of Legnago, which I could not wait to leave. Although devout Catholics, their notion of God was really a superior Habsburg emperor, inhabiting a heaven only slightly farther off than Vienna. All they required of him was to protect commerce and keep them forever preserved in mediocrity. My own requirements were very different. I wanted fame, not to deceive you. I wanted to blaze like a comet across the firmament of Europe. It only one especial way. Music. Absolute music. A note of music is either right or wrong, absolutely. Not even time can alter that. Music is God's art. Already when I was 10, a spray of sounded notes would make me dizzy almost to falling. By 12, I was stumbling about the fields of Lombardy, humming up my arias and anthems to the Lord. My one desire was to join all the composers who had celebrated his glory through the long Italian past. Every Sunday, I saw him in church, painted on the flaking wall. I don't mean Christ. Christs of Lombardy are simpering sillies with lambkins in their arms. No. I mean an old candle-smoked god, in mulberry robes, staring at the world with dealer's eyes, Tradesmen had put him up there. Those eyes made bargains, real and irreversible. You give me so, I'll give you so. No more, no less. The night before I left Vignago forever, I went to see him and made a bargain with him myself. I was a sober 16, filled with a desperate sense of right. I knelt before the god of bargains and prayed through the moldering plaster with all my soul. Signore, let me be a composer. Grant me sufficient fame to enjoy it. In return, I will live with virtue. I will strive to better the lot of my fellows. And I will honor you with much music all the days of my life. As I said amen, I saw his eyes flare. Bene, go forth, Antonio. Serve me and mankind, and you will be blessed. Grazie, I called back. I am your servant for life. The very next day, family friends suddenly appeared. Out of the blue. Took me off to Vienna and paid for me to study music. Shortly afterwards, I met the emperor, who favored me. Clearly, my bargain had been accepted. The same year I left Lombardy, a young prodigy was touring Europe. Miraculous virtuoso, aged 10 years. Wolfgang, Amadeus, Mozart. And now, gracious ladies, obliging gentlemen, I present to you, for one performance only, my last composition, entitled The Death of Mozart, or Did I Do It? Dedicated to posterity on this, the last night of my life. Is Vienna. The year, to begin with, 1781. The age is still that of the Enlightenment, that clear time before the guillotine fell in France and cut all our lives in half. I am 31. I own a respectable house and a respectable wife, Teresa. I do not mock her, I assure you. I require only one quality in a domestic companion: lack of fire. And in that admission, Teresa was conspicuous. I also had a prize pupil, Caterina Cavalieri. She was later to become the greatest singer of her age, but at that time, she was mainly a bubbling student with merry eyes, a sweet, eatable mouth. I was very much in love with Caterina, or at least in lust. But because of my vow to God, I remained entirely faithful to my wife. I had never laid a finger upon the girl, except occasionally to depress her diaphragm in the way of teaching her to sing. My ambition burned with an unquenchable flame. Its chief goal was the post of first royal Kapellmeister, then held by Giuseppe Bona, 7 years old, and apparently immortal. You, when you come, will be told that we musicians of the 18th century were no better than servants, the willing slaves of the well-born and well-to-do. This is quite true. It is also quite false. Yes, we were servants, but we were learned servants. And we used our learning to celebrate men's average lives. We took unremarkable men, usual officials, run-of-the-mill bishops, ordinary generals and statesmen and wives, sacramentalized their mediocrity. We smoothed their noons with strings divisi. We pierced their nights with chitarrini. We gave them processions for their strutting, serenades for their rutting, high horns for their hunting, and drums for their wars. Trumpets sounded when they entered this world, and trombones groaned when they left it. The savor of their days remains behind, because of us. Our music still remembered, while their politics are long forgotten. Tell me, before you call us servants, who served whom? And who, I wonder, in your generations, will immortalize you?
Sir, sir.
Sir.
I was the most successful young musician in the city of musicians. And now, suddenly, without warning,
Mozart.
Mozart.
Mozart has come.
these are my Venticelli, my little winds, as I call them. The secret of successful living in a large city is to always know, to the minute, what is being done behind your back.
He's been in Salzburg, service of the Archbishop.
But now he's left
Walked out in anger.
He is here to find work. Means to give concerts.
asking for subscribers.
I've known him for years, of course. Tales of his prowess were told all over Europe.
They say he wrote his first symphony at 5.
I hear his first concerto at 4.
A full opera at 14.
How old is he now?
25.
And how long is he remaining?
He's not departing.
Oh no, he's not departed.
He's here to stay.
Yes, he's here to stay.
You're required to commission a comic opera in German from Herr Mozart.
Johann von Strack, Royal Chamberlain, a court official to his collarbone.
Why in German? Italian is the only possible language for opera.
Count Orsini Rosenberg, director of the opera, benevolent to all things Italian, especially myself.
The idea of a national opera is dear to His Majesty's heart. He desires to hear pieces in plain good German. Yes, but why comic? It is not the function of music to be funny.
Baron van Swieten, prefect of the Imperial Library, ardent Freemason, yet to find anything funny. Known for his enthusiasm for old-fashioned music as Lord Few.
I heard last week a remarkable, serious opera from Mozart, Idomeneus, King of Crete.
I've heard that too. A young fellow trying to impress beyond his abilities. Too much spice, too many notes.
Nevertheless, kindly convey the commission to him today.
I believe we are going to have trouble with this young man. He was a child prodigy. That always spells trouble. His father was Leopold Mozart, a bad-tempered Salzburg musician who dragged the boy endlessly around Europe, making him play the keyboard blindfolded, with one finger, and that sort of thing. All prodigies are hateful. Non è vero, compositore?
E vengono sempre più sperdi quotidiani.
Precisamente.
What does it say?
Nothing, Herr Chamberlain. Niente, signor Pomposo.
We meet tomorrow, I believe, on your committee to devise pensions for the musicians.
It's most gracious of you to attend, Baron.
You're a worthy man, Salieri. You should join our Brotherhood of Masons. We would welcome you warmly.
I would be honored, Baron.
If you wish, I could arrange initiation into my lodge.
That would be more than my due.
Nonsense. We embrace men of talent of all conditions. I may invite young Mozart as well, dependent on the impression he makes.
Of course, Baron. Honor indeed. In those days, almost every man of influence in Vienna was a Mason, and the Baron's lodge by far most fashionable. As for young Mozart, I confess I was alarmed by his coming. Not by the commission of a comic opera, even though I was then attempting one myself called The Stolen Bucket. No. What worried me were reports about the man himself. He was praised altogether too much.
Such gaiety and spirit, such ease of manner.
Such natural charm.
Really? Where does he live?
Peter Black. Number 11.
The landlady is Madame Weber, a real bitch.
She takes in male lodgers and has a tribe of daughters. Mozart was engaged to one of them.
A soprano called Aloysia. She jilted him.
Now he's after another sister. Constanza.
I mean, he was engaged to one sister, and now wants to marry another.
Exactly. Her mother is pushing marriage. His father isn't.
Daddy is worried sick. Writes him every day from Salzburg.
I want to meet him. What houses does he visit?
He'll be at the Baroness Waldstoffin's tomorrow night.
Grazie.
So his music is to be played.
Restiamo in contatto.
Certamente, signor.
So, to the Baroness Waldstoffin's I went. That night changed my life. I had just entered the library to take first a little refreshment. My generous hostess always put out the most delicious confections whenever she knew I was coming over. Dolci, caramelli, and most especially, miraculous crema al mascarpone, which is simply cream cheese mixed with granulated sugar, suffused with rum. It was totally irresistible. I had just sat down in a high-backed chair to consume this paradisal dish. Unobservable, as it happened, to anyone who might have known me.
I'm going to pounce, bounce, I'm going to scrunch, munch. I'm going to chew my little mousy wousy. I'm going to tear her to shreds with my paws claws. Paws claws. Paws claws. Paws claws. Paws claws. Paws claws.
Before I could rise, it had become difficult to do so.
Oh, I'm gonna tear you to bits with my fangs, wangs, my little stranzo, wanzo, banzo. Oh, you're trembling. Oh, you're frightened. Oh, I think you're gonna yourself. Any minute now, it's gonna be all over the floor.
Someone will hear you. Stop it, Wolfie.
Hey. What's Trazom?
What?
T-R-A-Z-O-M. What does it mean?
How should I know?
It's Mozart spelled backwards. If you marry me, you'd be Constance Trazom.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would. Because when I get married, I want everything to be backwards. And I mean everything.
You're not going to give anything. At this rate, your father is never going to give his consent to us.
Who cares about my father's consent?
You do. You care very much. You wouldn't do it without it.
Wouldn't I?
No, you wouldn't. Because you're too scared of him. I know what he says about me. If you marry that dreadful girl, you'll end up lying in straw with beggars for children.
Marry me!
Don't be silly.
Marry me.
Are you serious?
Yes, just please tell me yes or no. Just say yes and I can go home and sit in my bed and take a big and say, I did it! The ladyship is ready to commence. Well, come, my dear, the music awaits.
Oh, by all means, Herr Trazom.
And then, right away, the concert began. I heard it through the door, some serenade, at first only vaguely, too horrified to attend. But presently, the sound insisted. A solemn adagio in E flat. It started simply enough, just a pulse in the lowest registers. bassoons and bass horns. Like a rusty squeeze box. It would have been comic except for the slowness, which gave it instead a sort of serenity. And then, suddenly, high above it, sounded a single note on the oboe. Hung there unwavering, piercing me through, till breath could hold it no longer. And the clarinet withdrew it out of me, and sweetened it into a phrase of such delight, it had me trembling. The light flickered in the room. My eyes clouded. The squeeze box groaned louder, and over it, the higher instruments wailed and warbled, throwing lines of sound around me, long lines of pain around and through me. Pain. Pain as I had never known it. I call up to my sharp old God, what is this? What? But the squeeze box went on and on. The pain cut deeper into my shaking head, until suddenly, I was running, dashing through the side door, stumbling downstairs into the street, into the cold night, gasping for life. What? What is this? Tell me, signore, what is this pain? What is this need in the sound? Forever unfulfillable. Yes. Fulfilling him who hears it. Utterly. Is it your need? Can it be yours? Dimly, the music sounded from the salon above. Dimly, the stars shone on an empty street. I was suddenly frightened. It seemed to me that I had heard the voice of God, and that it had issued from a creature whose own voice I had also heard. And it was the voice of an obscene child. I ran home and buried my fear in work. More pupils, till there were 30 or 40. More committees to help poor musicians. More motets and anthems to God's glory. And at night, I prayed for just one thing. Let your sound enter me. Let me be your conduit. Let me. As for Mozart, I avoided meeting him and sent out my Botticelli for whatever scores of his could be found.
6 forte piano sonatas.
Composed in Munich.
2.
In Mannheim.
A Parisian symphony.
Clever. They were all clever. And yet, they seemed to me completely empty.
A divertimento indeed. Tassazione in G.
A grand litany in E flat.
The same. Conventional. Even boring. The productions of a precocious youngster. Leopold Mozart's switey son, nothing more. That serenade had obviously been an exception in his work. The sort of accident which might visit any composer on a lucky day. Had I in fact been simply taken by surprise that the filthy creature could write music at all? Suddenly, I felt immensely cheered. I would seek him out and welcome him myself to Vienna.
Let's send fireworks, gentlemen. Mozart is here. He is waiting below.
Majesty.
Je suis folamente paciente.
The Emperor Joseph II of Austria, son of Maria Theresa, brother of Marie Antoinette, adorer of music, provided that it made no demands upon the royal ear. Majesty, I have written a little march in Mozart's honor. May I play it as he comes in?
By all means, court composer, what a delightful idea. Have you met him yet?
Not yet, Majesty.
Fetes and fireworks, what fun! Struck, bring him up at once.